Hey guys, Black Screen Conversations Day 3. Today we're going to talk about the significance of lies and the relationship that lies have with love and hate and attaining happiness. This relationship was first expressed to me through The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I just want to start off by reading the passage where I first, learned about this. For context, it's a scene in which an elder is giving advice to someone on what to do with the situation, and it starts off with a description of a situation by the elder. Um, he was then an old man and unquestionably intelligent. He spoke just as frankly as you, humorously but with sorrowful humor. I love mankind, he said, but I am amazed at myself. The more I love mankind in general, the less I love people in particular, that is, individually, as separate persons. In my dream, he said, I often went as far to think passionately of serving mankind, and it may be would have really gone to the cross for people if it were somehow suddenly necessary, and yet I am incapable of living in the same room with anyone even for 2 days. This I know from experience. As soon as someone is there close to me, his personality oppresses my self-esteem and restricts my freedom. In 24 hours, I can begin to hate even the best of men. One because he takes too long eating his dinner, another because he has a cold and keeps blowing his nose. I become the enemy of people the moment they touch me, he said. On the other hand, it has always happened to me that the more I hate people individually, the more ardent my heart becomes for humanity.
Before I go on, I just think that this is such a important passage because we've all felt this at times before, whether it be living in a room or living in a house with your parents and feeling cramped, or sharing a room with a roommate and having their lifestyle infringe upon yours, or just going to school with people that don't meld well with your personality, going to work with people that don't um, agree with you, and just having an interesting workplace environment, interesting school environment. I feel like this is a universal feeling that we've all experienced on some degree. But this one is interesting in that he says, I can begin to even hate the best of men. One because he takes too long eating his dinner, another because he has a cold and keeps blowing his nose. So these are just things that are not necessarily inherently bad. They're human, you could argue. And he's taking offense to it because of how it offends his personal freedom, his personal mobility. And it's so interesting that it continues. On the other hand, it always happened that the more I hate people individually, the more ardent my love for humanity as a whole. He's hinting on this relationship, so he hates quote unquote perfect men for doing normally human things. The larger the larger his capacity for hate becomes, the larger his capacity for love becomes on a larger scale. And that's a concept I'm going to talk about later in the video. It's one to keep in mind, just as we continue. But he asked about a situation. He said, "What is to be done then? What is to be done in such a case? Should one fall into despair?" And the elder responds, "No, for it is enough you are distressed by it. Do what you can, and it will be reckoned unto you. You have already done much, if you can understand yourself so deeply and sincerely. But if you spoke with me so sincerely just now in order to be praised, as I have praised you for your truthfulness, then of course you will get nowhere with your efforts in active love, and it will all remain merely a dream, and your whole life will flit by like a phantom. Then naturally you forget about the future life, and in the end you will somehow calm down by yourself." In this part, the elder is just saying, if you spoke to me about your situation only to receive praise from me for your um, introspective ability, then you're not really setting your heart on improving. You're not really setting your heart on actually loving and getting out of the situation, but rather just looking for me being the elder, to acknowledge your ability. And I guess it's a more complex idea. Definitely stuff to read into, but I'm not going to talk about it that much. But it continues with saying, the guy admits, he said, "You have crushed me. Only now, this very moment, as you're speaking, did I realize that I was only waiting for you to praise my sincerity when I told you that I couldn't bear ingratitude. You've brought me back to myself. You've caught me out and explained me to myself." He's just thanking the elder. And the elder continues, "Is it true what you say? Well, now, after such a confession from you, I believe that you are sincere and good at heart. If you do not attain happiness, always remember that you are on a good path, and try not to leave it. Above all, avoid lies. Avoid all lies, especially the lie to yourself. Keep watch on your own lie, and examine it every hour, every minute. Avoid contempt both of others and yourself. What seems bad to you in yourself is purified by the very fact that you have noticed it in yourself. So I'm going to stop there. It continues, but I just wanted that last part. What seems bad to you in yourself is purified by the very fact that you've noticed it in yourself. I see that as meeting yourself where you're at. It's the first stage of the trajectory towards improving, and it's very critical in that improvement is not going to come right away, but the first step is just acknowledging that you have an issue and you want to improve on this issue. So meet yourself where you're at and then look towards improvement. And then we can go back and we can look at how the elder suggests he improve, which is avoiding lies and the importance of avoiding lies. So the importance of lies are that lies uphold self-righteousness. In lying, you allow yourself to exist in on an extreme level. Through lying, you can allow yourself to exist in a reality in which you take no fault. So you can lie to others about how much money you have, what your grades are, your feelings, whatever. And to others, you can appear as what you essentially want to appear as. Lying to ourselves functions similarly but differently, in that when we lie to ourselves about the same things, um, like money, uh, grades, etc., 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 it's not true. We know that it's a lie. Lying to yourself is different in that in the realm of relationships, you are given the ability to put yourself as higher than someone else. What I mean by this is like in an instance which you're arguing with someone, and after the argument you go back and you think back of the situation, you can pick out certain things that they said, and you can overlook things that you said that may have offended them, uh, and essentially craft this lie in which you take no blame or accountability for the situation. The other person is entirely wrong. And while that may be a more extreme example, we can look at others' offenses on our own personal being, like mentioned previously, someone blowing their nose, or not really someone blowing their nose, but like someone being loud in the hallway in the morning, or even like smelling up, being stinky and smelling up the I don't know, the classroom, the workspace, and we can become more critical and harsh on them and completely overlook our own shortcomings and faults and potential offenses that we may put out onto others just by existing, because we have painted ourselves to become this blameless person through lying to ourselves. And that's why, as the passage continues, uh, the elder says, "Never be frightened at your own faint-heartedness in attaining love, and meanwhile do not even be frightened by your own bad acts." Because at this point, once you start trying to improve from the situation, and when you start to try to love others on a personal level, and you start recognizing the own lies that you tell yourself that allow you to stand from this blameless pedestal and really criticize others, you start to recognize your own bad acts, and you start to recognize how you existing and doing your daily tasks might uh, be assaults on other person's freedoms or mobility, and you essentially start to realize that you're not as perfect as you paint yourself. But in doing that, then you can go on and begin to love others more sincerely. And this is what the elder describes as active love. He says, "Active love is labor and perseverance, and for some people, perhaps a whole science." And he compares it to performative love. Love in dreams, he says, "Love in dreams thirsts for immediate action, quickly performed, with everyone watching. Indeed, it will go as far as the giving of one's even life, provided it does not take long, but soon is over, as on stage, as everyone is looking and praising." So this is like the performative love, in which everyone can see, in which the guy talks about saying, "I would give my own life to save everyone, like on the cross, I'd die like Jesus did, but I can't live in the same room as someone else." These the two different types of love, active love slash performative love, versus not active love, but rather love in dreams slash performative love versus active love. And we need to strive for active love, because that is
That is the love that brings us down to earth, that keeps us humble, that reminds us that we're all in the same boat, we're all human, and that we're all working towards this goal of improving. So it gives us patience, it gives us compassion, kindness, etc. And I know I mentioned before the capacity for hate and the capacity for love in that relationship. I said the larger capacity for hate, the larger capacity for love. And I guess what I mean by this is that the larger the capacity you have to be offended by someone, to be contempt towards something or someone, the stronger ability you have to understand your feeling of contempt, of hate, and transform that into love. With strong contempt comes a strong understanding of one's feelings, and with that deep understanding of one's feelings, you can better understand how to orient yourself, how to act on a day-to-day basis to produce love, and show kindness and compassion towards others. And yeah, I guess that's it for the talks. That was day 3. I know that it was a bit of a numbo jumbo. I hope it made sense. I hope it was clearer and more concise. Yeah, I guess the takeaway, most importantly, do not lie to yourself or others. Very important. See you guys tomorrow.